We're going to go through our little presentation we have here for the Electrical, Electronics, and Computer Engineering Technician and Technology program. I'm going to do the very important job of clicking back and forth. And I'm just going to touch on the slides, and Jan and Sarah can add in their comments as we go along. And if you have any questions as we're going, feel free to post them up and we'll answer them as we go along. Okay. So just to start off, our technician programs are 2 years in duration and our technology programs are 1 year. And we have a common first year between the electrical, electronics, and computer programs. So during that first year, it allows you to, if you decided to go into one program and you find that your interest is in another, you can switch before the end of first year. So we just started doing that. I think we're going into our third year of this structure. So the Electrical Engineering Technology and Technician program. Okay, it is a 2- and 3-year program. And the way our technician and technology program work is at the end of 2 years, you can graduate with your technician diploma, or you could stay the third year and go for your technology diploma. So if your original intention was to do technology and you feel you can't handle the work or you just want to graduate, you are able to graduate with the technician diploma. Or on the flip side, if you enrolled in the technician program and you wanted to stay and go for the full technology advanced diploma, then you're free to do that as well. Some career opportunities is working for electrical, electronic distributors, electric power generation and utility operators, working for engineering consultants, equipment manufacturers, industrial manufacturing plants, or system design and integrator. So those are some of the job options, the career options for the electrical program. Sarah, Jan, anything you want to throw in there? There's also industrial automation. That is a quickly growing field. And you'll find, if you went through the video tour that's posted in this section for our labs, we do have a lot of content revolving around programmable logic controllers and robotics. So students are getting into that field and working for your utilities, Long Hydro, Horizon, Ontario Power Generation, Hydro One. Those are all career options for our electrical engineering technology and technicians. There. For our technicians, which is a 2-year program, our career opportunities can be with contractors, equipment manufacturers, electrical suppliers, lab technicians, maintenance supervisor, quality control supervisor, and technical specialist. So we have a question here from Jordan. Yeah, Jordan, the renewable energies will be touched on in a few slides near the end. Okay. So there's also a heavy content in the electrical technician and technology programs in AC and DC motors, in generators, distribution systems. So you get really heavy into the high voltage part of the field, into the getting into understanding the grid. We do have a renewable energy section in our program. For the electronics engineering technologists, the co-op program, like our electrical engineering technologists. So you would have, after semester 4, you have an 8-month co-op term, and then you come back to school for academic term 5. and then you go back to a 4-month co-op term, and you come back for academic term 6, and then you graduate. So it's actually 9 semesters long if you include the 3 co-ops, but it does give you valuable work experience and inroads into jobs. So some career opportunities for electronics engineering technologists are an automation, robotics, and system integration, automotive, aviation, and biomedical industries, component system design and manufacturing, engineering, electronic firms, government institutions, maintenance, installation, servicing of electronics, radio and wireless, and sales and marketing. Sales and marketing is a big field in any of these programs. You'll find if you go through the programs that the division between electrical and electronics is blurry. It's not as clear cut as it used to be because both fields kind of melt into each other. So with the electrical, you're dealing with higher voltage, more power generation, and with the electronics, you're getting more into communication, a little more into microcontrollers. And there are some other differences, but the line is blurring between those 2 fields. And you'll find actually that there are a good number of programs in 2nd year that are still common to both, to electrical and electronics. For the electronics engineering technician program, again, that's 2 years. There's no co-op in the technician programs. And some career opportunities for the engineering technicians in electronics are commercial industrial electronics firm, electrical motor control, equipment calibration and testing, fiber optics, government, instrumentation, biomedical firms, manufacturing, process system maintenance, product development, research, solar and green energy, and testing and measurement. All right, you'll find between the technician and technology programs in both electrical and electronics, there's more of a design component and more of a prototyping component in the technology area. I wouldn't say one works for the other, but the technologist will be able to do more design work, more process development, and the technicians will be doing a lot of maintenance, a lot of testing, and just reaffirming what it is that's being designed, and usually working with an engineering technologist or an engineer. Okay, and then there's our computer engineering technician program. So this is a 2-year program. There's no technology option here. There's no technology option for the computer engineering technician. And as a computer engineering technician, you can get into being a customer service representative, computer hardware and software technician, user support, data communication support, embedded system support, help desk, system testing technician, and a lot of sales and support in this area. And after this pandemic is over, you can bet that this field it's exploding now and will continue to explode because more and more companies are looking for options to have workers work remotely or to be able to flip that switch quickly and move to an off-site business model if required. So just look in your own homes. If you're a family of working parents and several siblings who are all in school, you were all pretty dependent on IT for the past 12 months. But this sector is expected to continue its growth well into the future because the economy did take an unexpected turn straight up into the IT world. Before we get into the renewable energies, just to recap, the electrical, electronic, and computer programs have a common first year. So you are able to switch between the 3 programs if you change your mind. The you're not really held back. As long as you pass everything, then you can switch. If you go into computer engineering technician, that's a separate program. So that's 2 years. It's 2 years only, no co-op. For electrical, technology, and technician, the first 2 years are common, and then the third year, semesters 5 and 6 academic, are for technology. So you can flip back and forth between technology and technician by just deciding that you want to stay that extra year, or you want to leave after 2 years. Okay, and same with electronics. The first 2 years are common, and you can stay the extra year, or you can leave after 2 years. Okay, I will tell you that there are career opportunities at the technician and technology level. You just find that there are more at the technology level. Okay, the pay scale and the career opportunities are commensurate with staying in school that extra year. If you're good at math, you may find that you want to stay the extra year and do that. That's something you can discover during your first 2 years with us. So Professor Sarah Rouillet teaches in second and third year electrical mainly, and Professor Bradley teaches first year electronics, and she also teaches digital sometimes. She teaches about 17 different courses, it seems, but I'm just kidding. And she has got into DC and AC machines along with Sarah, and she's also been dabbling a little bit in the computer area as well. Kelty, are you an electronics technology student?
Yes, I'm an electronics engineering technology student, but I did start in electrical and then I switched.
Is that my fault? No. Okay. All right. And Kelty is one of our co-op students right now. We do hire some co-op students in the college, either to work in the labs with us, or some get a co-op placement in Niagara Research. So it's another option. And there are co-op opportunities all over Niagara and all over Ontario. So some people choose to use their co-op as a way to get away for 8 months, to go chase an adventure and get some work experience. So, and our co-ops are paid. They're not volunteer co-ops. So we have, this will be posted, but there are information sections on our website for all of these programs. They list all of the courses you'll be taking. So if you go to niagaracollege.ca and academic and programs, you can find all 3 of our programs on there. Actually, all 5. So these are your program coordinators. Stefan, I don't think he's with us yet. He was our 3rd year coordinator. I'm the 2nd year coordinator, and Sarah is our outgoing 1st year coordinator, and Janet is our incoming 1st year coordinator. So we work in conjunction. Your program coordinators work in conjunction with the academic advisors, and we do work with students, helping them navigate their way through the program, because there are times somebody might fail a course, or somebody might want to transfer in or change their direction. Even if they get into 2nd year electronics and want to switch to electrical, then we help them in conjunction with the academic advisors. We help them navigate their way through that. Renewable energies, that is a 2-year program. It is not, it's not tied in with the computer, electrical, and electronics programs. It's on its own. The coordinator there is Brian Mewini. He's not able to be with us today. They are, Anne, did you want to speak to this, or?
Sure, I can say a few things. So it's a 2-year diploma program. The program prepares graduates to work in sectors around alternative energy. So we're looking at wind and solar options for producing electricity, and even geothermal for energy and heat and cooling solutions. This program gives students fundamental understanding on how systems function. So students take courses in HVAC, energy auditing, AutoCAD in the first year. In the second year, begin to understand the larger systems such as networks and power grids and how energy can be stored. The student can take specific courses in learning how to install solar systems, wind turbine installation, and basic hydraulic fluids. And I believe the next slide has some career opportunities on there. Oh, this is just a few more highlights. So this is just a few more highlights first on the program. Experienced instructors, modern equipment you get to work with, spacious lab facilities, enjoy a wide variety of career options. There is a high demand for graduates in Niagara region and throughout Ontario, which is always a good thing to know when you're taking a program, that there's lots of jobs out there for you. And if you can just go to the next slide, Frank. These just highlight some of the career opportunities that you can get out of taking the Renewable Energies program. I won't go through them all, but this information is also available on the website. And what I can share with you in the chat, we do have a YouTube video that does show the labs and things that you get to work with in this program. And I think that would be highly beneficial for you guys to check out. So in a moment, I will post that in the chat and feel free to look at that whenever you have a chance.
Those videos are posted somewhere permanently, aren't they?
It's a YouTube video, so most likely is on the Niagara College page on our YouTube channel. Okay, I'll pass it back over to you, Frank.
Oh, thanks. I could tell you if you are interested in construction, if you're interested in working outdoors, if you're more of a mechanical type person, the renewable energy sector does have a lot of opportunity for those. Like there are people who, even if you're not interested in being a solar panel tech for the rest of your life, but you do like working outdoors and you do like manual labor, those things still have to be installed, right? Those facilities, the acquisition of sun and wind and water, those things still have to be consulted. There's still a big mechanical and just physical labor portion of those projects that still needs to be done. And actually, there are some people who are specialists in those. So
it's back to me.
Yeah.
All right. So I just wanted to remind you of a few things, and then we're going to get into our question and answer period. As I mentioned at the beginning of the session, please put any questions you have into the Q&A, and we'll either write you out an answer or we'll answer it live, preferably answer live so everyone can hear. But again, the deadline to confirm your offer of admission is May 1st. Drop into one of our student services, Ask Me Anything sessions today to speak live to staff. And again, the recording of this session will be posted online after the event, as well as all of our other sessions as well. So
you should know, to our attendees, that Janet and Sarah are both graduates of Niagara College. Our lab technologists are graduates of Niagara College. So we do have a connection to the school, not just because it's our job. It's a big part of our life. And I think you'd see if you attended our program that we really do enjoy being there. And it'll be nice to be there again, hopefully soon. But I think you'll find that staff does have a connection to the college. And we like to think that comes through in our program when we are interfacing with everybody.
Frank, we just have a question from Jordan. I'm not sure if you can answer this. It's about renewable energies. How many students would there be per class in that program? Would you happen to know?
Sarah, when we do their PLCs, what do they have? Usually 40 students? 2 sections?
Yes, I would say they average about 40 students in most terms. So, and again, it depends on the lab facilities that they're using. So when they're in the tech building, I think their labs are between 10 to 15. Same with me in PLCs, usually 10 to 15, but a lecture would be with the whole group. So a lecture would be in not a big lecture hall, but in one of our standard lecture rooms that would accommodate 40 people. So not overly big class sizes.
Okay, and then we also have in the chat from Angeli. Does the course feel easy going for students who've already taken a bachelor's of degree in physics? I'm not sure what program you're referring to there.
So you have a bachelor degree in physics, Anjali? If you do, I'm going to guess that your math is between very good and very, very good. So there's still a lot for you to learn, but one of the major, I'm not gonna say stumbling blocks, but points of difficulty for students is the math component of this program. So I'm gonna guess that you have that pretty much taken care of. So I wouldn't say it's gonna be easy. I would say it's easier if you are very strong in math, and plus you already have the discipline of completing a post-secondary program.
And the problem solving skills probably to
Exactly.
go along with it. Life skills and problem solving skills, you know, those will take you really far in your studies in this program as well. So I would say just because of those qualities as well, you'd find it a little easier going than say someone who's just straight out of high school. So Frank, since we have a tiny bit of a lull, why don't I just mention IEEE if you want to go there?
Yeah.
Okay, so Niagara College does have an IEEE, Institute of Electrical Electronics Engineers, student branch that we have been trying to rejuvenate actually, but it got a little bit of a kick in the pants from COVID, just like many other things. But we are still in the planning phases for when we get back to be able to get back to have some student activities. But even through COVID, the students from the Niagara College student branch have been invited to participate with students from all over the world, as well as across Canada, in activities that have been run by IEEE, the global organization. And so it's really given them an opportunity to connect to other students. And you would have the opportunity as students at Niagara College to join our student college, our Niagara College student branch, which would be, you know, it took me a lot of places getting involved with IEEE. And I think it also gives you some aspects of professionalism. It gives you some access, if you want to, it can give you experience in leadership of basically a club, you know, focused on the industry. So it does provide a lot of experience for those who do get involved. As I said, we do understand that it took a bit of a step back for COVID, but you know, we have plans for it to become something of quite a going concern once we're all back again, which it has been in the past and will be again.
All right, we have a couple questions in the Q&A. The first one is from Akash. Renewable program have any site visits?
So I'm not sure if this is referring to coming on to the college or if the renewable guys go out and do site visits. So I will address it that way. Brian Mawini is also a graduate of Niagara College. And so he has a lot of connection to Niagara, as well as those industry connections. And I know Brian quite often does all kinds of, in non-COVID times, we've done field trips. He's done different areas, gone to different areas where he could bring students out to. They participate in flying the drones, and there's all kinds of cool things that Brian does. So it's very interactive. He brings a ton of energy as a professor and just as a person, kind of like Frank. So he's Brian's our Frank, but for the renewable group. So they do a lot of off-campus activities when they are able. How that will look next year, we're not certain yet. And as far as coming on campus to do site visits, did they do a video the way we had done through our labs? I'm not sure if Renewable has a video available for their program.
You're on mute, Frank.
I think Anne just posted that YouTube link for the renewable video for the renewable labs.
Okay.
Yes.
And again, during normal, when we're not in COVID situation, Brian's also pretty active at bringing in guest speakers in the field as well. He has brought in a number of speakers that are in the industry for students to participate. And he generally opens that up for everybody to attend if we've got, you know, the room available to do so. So it wouldn't matter which program you were in, you could benefit from that.
Great. Okay, we have a couple more questions. So next question from Marcus. What coding languages should we learn in advance?
I don't know if there is no real prerequisite for what you need to learn when you come in. If you know any coding language, Marcus, then that gives you experience in structuring code in basically every programming language kind of does the same thing. So you just have to learn the nuances of specific languages. So if you do know a language, then you understand how programming languages are structured, and it'll just make it a little easier for you to adapt to another language. Okay, what program are you talking about, Marcus? Are you thinking about entering the computer engineering tech or electrical electronics?
I'm just going to turn on his mic here. You can go ahead, Marcus, if your mic is on.
I was interested in learning the computer engineering class.
Okay, then you'll be exposed to a few different languages there. All right, but there's no prerequisite. It's not like you have to learn. You don't need to learn like C before you come to school. You know what I mean?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. We have that question from Anjali. Do we have ample opportunity in the job sector just after completion? Or is there a requirement for additional qualifications? You do not need anything additional to work as an electrical or electronic engineering technician or technologist, okay? However, you do have the ability to pursue the professional designation of a certified engineering technologist with OSET. And what that does is it does give you, it's a professional designation, and sometimes companies do require a CET designation if they want you in positions of doing a lot of design work where things need to be certified. However, you don't need those. You don't need those to actually work. It's not like dental hygienists or nurses where you need a provincial qualification to work. You can just leave school and go to work. Okay. You will though, if you take the electrical or electronic engineering technology programs, you will also leave with a certificate of called material handling and programming for FANUC robots. So this would be an official certification at that level for these FANUC robots. And those are recognized in industry that you do have training or additional training in those devices if you want to get into industrial automation. So we have 3 professors in our faculty who are certified to deliver that course on behalf of FANUC. That's FANUC if you want to look up those robots. Or if you want to, I put a link to the video for our labs. I'm not sure it's going to work in that format. But you do get that additional qualification when you leave. And I'll also tell you that if you are an IEEE member, or if you do get your amateur radio license, those things pop up on resumes. They're noticeable to employers. Employers know what they are, so that will, one, it'll tell them that you are a little more interested in this field than just having gone to school. First thing, and second, it does give you more to talk about during your interview, and that's always a good thing. But the first point is the more important, that it does demonstrate that this is not only a career path for you, but also a passion to some degree.
Okay, we also have a question in the chat from Aaron Daffy. What's so special about the Renewable Energy Technician program from other institutions? And do we get an opportunity to get involved in works associated with this field outside the campus?
I can tell you the answer to B is no. You, like liability wise, you can't run out. The school can't have, but we don't have students working on live installations, if that's what he's asking. Just for liability reasons and things like that, right? But I'm not sure what competitive advantages the renewable faculty promote. Okay, I'm not sure if the other two faculty members know. I know the program's popular, so.
Yeah, to me, I think that's probably a question that may even you want to defer to Brian specifically. If we could have a follow-up, maybe a message for him to follow up. Is that a possibility? Is that something we can do?
Mm-hmm.
I can put Brian's email into the chat as well.
Yeah, it's a shame that he can't be with us today, because I'm sure he'd have about 30 things to say on that topic, and we're just not aware of them. It is a very popular program, and the students who graduate, they do very well when they leave. There are jobs, as was mentioned before. So I'd say there's some advantages right there.
All right, and we do have a couple questions in the Q&A. First one, Blake, what direction is the computer program focused on?
Well, Jen, you want to speak to that? Sarah,
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You're as familiar as the rest of us.
It is not a computer programming course. It is a computer engineering technician course. So you become, you're there to maintain, to install, and to update and design networks and systems for end users.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no software development in that course. It's not a programming course. There's a little bit of programming in it,
yeah,
but it is focused on the world of sales, installation, maintenance, and upgrade and design networks.
Yeah.
And I would say it was more of a hardware course than a software course. But again, the line between hardware and software is blurred, because you need to be able to support both. You need to be good at hardware and software.
yeah.
All right, and our next question from Akash is electrical and electronics engineering technician program available for international students, or is it full for fall 2021?
It is definitely available to international students. Does anybody know the status, though, of registration? I don't have that information.
And it might.
I don't, but I can put the link for admissions in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, the best page to check is niagaracollege.ca/status to get statuses of any of our programs.
I'm just putting the link again to our lab tour.
Okay, and I added to the chat how to reach the program coordinator for renewable energies for anyone that would like to reach out to him after this session to get more information.
Brian's gonna love us. No, he will. He'll be more than happy to reply.
Yeah, good.
More than happy to reply.
All right. Another question. What extra opportunities are available in computer engineering program?
Can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah.
Blake, I'll just allow you to talk if you wanted to speak more.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Blake.
I was wondering if there's anything extra in the course, whether it be just extra certifications or anything like that that are available at Niagara College opposed from other places?
Ah, you mean like getting your A+ certification, Cisco certification, those things?
Yeah.
No, within the program itself, no. Niagara College is not an official testing center for those certifications. So you'd be a lot more prepared to tackle those certifications with your diploma,
Yeah.
but those diplomas do not lend themselves directly to those. And the reason is to become like a Cisco certified network engineer, then we would have to have just so many courses about Cisco. And that doesn't really satisfy the program's mandate to get you ready for any job. If we were to become a Microsoft certification house, then we'd have to gear everything around Microsoft. So it doesn't satisfy the program's mandate to only focus in on one area. And on top of that, the program would cost a small fortune for you.
And it wouldn't be 2 years either, not if it was to add all that additional. But again, like you mentioned, Frank, the preparation that you'd have to be able to go on and complete a certification after graduation, you'd be well prepared. You'd definitely have a big leg up on anyone else that's going to be going for those certifications.
I can also tell you, you can't come into this program saying, having your mind fixed that I'm going to go to Niagara College and I'm going to get a job with Ontario Power Generation, and that's it. And I can tell you that Sarah and Janet and I have had career paths that we probably could not have predicted in a million years.
Yeah.
And this is pretty much the story for everybody out there, and probably including your parents and anybody else, you know. Everybody who works at the college, faculty, has industry experience, has real work experience. We didn't just graduate and come straight to the college. But none of our careers, and when we sit around and talk, like we all just kind of scratch our heads sometimes how we ended up going from here to here to here to here to here, and ending up where we are now.
And I'd like to add to that, Frank. I mean, there's been a few questions about extra certifications and you know, are you prepared for a job as soon as you leave? So the answer I would say to that is you are prepared for employment when you leave, but I don't think any of us would tell you that your education is over. Okay, so in my opinion, don't expect that your education is done, because you may find you're at a company that will send you on training, you know, and so they'll send you for more education. You may get your, as Frank said, you may find yourself going down one path and realize you're looking at something maybe a little over to the left or to the right of what you're doing that looks like it's more in your area that you'd like to focus on. So what are you going to do? You may have to, you know, do some specialization work. What you're going to be leaving with is a really good, broad knowledge of information that really should set you in good standing to be able to do or go really anywhere you decide, even if that path, you know, takes a sharp right and you end up somewhere else. You're still going to have that really good foundation, and that foundation of knowing how to learn, of being able to, you know, learn a lot of different topics. It's going to set you up for all those different events that could happen that send you in different directions. But it's by no means, not in this field, there in any of these fields that we're talking about, renewables, electrical, electronics, computer, it doesn't stop evolving, right? I mean, technology evolves quickly. So this won't be the end of your learning. It's really just the foundation of your learning. Sarah, you can agree with that, right?
Yeah, I think that's it's always my go-to phrase because I teach in term 4 And I teach the first, well, I used to teach the first of a PLC class that a lot of students would come in and that was not what they wanted to do. So if they were electronics and thinking about the traditional electronics, and now, well, it's evolved obviously because there's all the wireless and antenna that wasn't there when I took it 20 years ago. But some of the electronic guys would come in and just say, oh, you know, I hate this. I don't want to be a programmer. And some of the electrical guys, they come in and they want to go into power. They're looking at power generation and transmission, and then they get into the automation world and they're like, oh, this is kind of cool. I actually do really well at this. And so that was always my go-to phrase, is that you have to take it with a grain of salt, and that you may not like this course, but in the end, you never know what opportunity is going to open up for you. And it was a different way of programming. So when we talk about programming and learning syntax, not everybody comes in having programming background. And so it scares them. And I think we do a really good job at the college of starting from the basics and trying to bring you into a different way of thinking. And so, yeah, keep your mind open. When I graduated from the college in electronics, I thought, well, I'm going into this very popular camera company that did mobile video cameras, and I was set for life. And 6 months later, I was at ABB Burlington learning how to program those PLCs, because our industry standard in North America is usually Rockwell. You will see Siemens. It honestly depends on the industry that you're looking at. So power generation tends to be a lot more Siemens. Rockwell really has that industrial market cornered. So when you're talking about GM and looking at manufacturing, but where I worked was a chemical plant. And so they were very big on ABB. They were European. So I learned to program that way. And then I worked with a TSSA inspector, and he's like, oh, you want to see the inside of a mud drum? And so from there, I went on and did my 4th and 3rd class stationary engineering tickets. Not something that I would have believed when I was 20 years old. So keep your mind open, and people will see that energy and the fact that you're willing to learn. And Kelty can speak to coming into our programs and what her expectations were versus what she's actually learning as an electronics student, right, Kelty?
Yeah, I can definitely speak on it. So again, I said earlier, I did start in electrical, and actually going into my program, I thought, oh, I'll check out with my my 2-year program, and then I'll go into being an electrician. That's not how my life went at all. So after the first year, I switched into the electronics engineering technologist program. And from going on, I found a lot more interest in programming. I used to hate computers. I used to hate programming. I used to think I was never going to end up in that area. And here I am in electronics, and that's all I do almost every day. So your goals really do change throughout the program, and you find what you are interested in.
And you don't know what you're going to be good at. That's the other thing is, I find, especially with PLCs, I get a lot of students that come in and think I can't program, and they blow us away. And maybe the math was a different kind of subject for them. And not that they didn't do well in the math, those core subjects, the electrical, the power, the machines courses, but they really found they had a knack for programming. And that industrial market, especially in North America, it's booming. And if you can get into that, I'm not saying we still need people to go be electricians and still be the technicians, and everybody has their own niche. And I get the question a lot, which stream should I take? Because you can switch after second term. And I can't answer that for you, because you need to do what you find interesting, and then the money will come. So you can't just be motivated by money. Somebody shows you a sunshine list and you're like, oh, well, I'm going to make $100,000 as a linesman up in Timbuktu working crazy shifts until you get enough seniority to come back down to this area, right? So then they get a taste of some of the other areas, and that's what electronics does really well. Not only are you doing wireless and electronics, you are learning robotics and automation. And electrical, you're learning the power side of things, and you're learning automation. So you get to try it out and see yeah, you know what, I'm actually pretty good at this. And the money comes then. They seek you.
Yeah.
One thing I would recommend for any student who's looking to start one of these programs is do come in unbiased as possible. Be open to learning just about everything and don't close off any doors yet, because there's so many possibilities and you really don't want to miss out on something that could be really great for you.
I have one more comment that I like to share is that I taught full-time at the college for over 10 years. And so I've had students come, I used to be the first year coordinator. And so I had a lot of students come from other areas, other schools, and their transfer requests would come through me. And I got to know them really well. So the nice thing about Niagara is, sure, we're not a small college anymore. We're a mid-sized college. So we're not as big as some of those really huge ones that may not know your name, and you become just you become just a student number. And so I've had a lot of students come from other colleges that said, you know, this school may have had the flashiest equipment and it was really cool, but nobody cared about me. Nobody reached out to me to make sure that I was okay. When I asked for help, there was nobody there to answer. That's the kind of thing that you get at Niagara. And I think it's because none of us thought we would end up here. I'm sure between Janet and Frank, myself, we never thought we'd come back and be teaching at Niagara. It was kind of the path that chose us. And it's hard not being in that school right now. I will say there's a lot of heart and soul, and you walk in there, I take pride in my graduates because it's a name that reflects on me. I went to Niagara. I'm proud that I went to Niagara. When I work with the employers and they say, you know what, like, where'd you get this guy from? You know, that's just the students that we put out. And I take pride in those students, and I hope that they take pride in us. Jan knows how emotional I am, so it's hard. I'm getting ready right now for the term 4s to write my graduation video for them, and I probably have to do about 20 takes because I will cry at least a dozen times.
Yeah.
Not being on stage with them is
Yeah.
a tough thing, but I know
Yeah.
many of them, they add us on LinkedIn, they find ways to connect with us because we want to stay in touch.
And Sarah shares an office with Janet and me, so you can just imagine how much she misses us.
She just misses us so much.
You do get attached though, because you've been with these students when they've been at the bottom of the barrel and they're crying in your office because something's not going right, and next thing you know, they're graduating.
Kelsey, you have something to say.
I have cried in many offices. I have no shame about it. It happens. Also, fun fact, health and wellness does have a cry room. If you're ever like mid breakdown, just walk on down there and tell them you need somewhere and they'll give it to you. But it's really nice. I've had like so much support from all of the staff, like with any struggle, and they really do want you to succeed. So it's been good. I don't know where I'd be without you guys, to be honest.
Well, we're pretty proud of you too.
Well, now I learn about the cry room. Well, I think it's pretty obvious that there's no need to pick any other school. So we'll see you all in September.
Not that we're proud of our students at all or anything, but or our school.
And we're modest.
I think
You know,
there's that
Sarah,
old.
What's that?
I think when I can't remember if it was one of the Niagara days or one of the events we were at, and somebody said, I think Dan Patterson, who's our former president, bleeds Niagara College blue. And I think when you look into, especially in technology, we're such a tight-knit group. We work in our area with our people, and we get to know everybody so well that I would say it's pretty true of all of us when you say that we all bleed Niagara College blue.
Yeah, I think so too.
If anyone is like looking between different colleges, I actually, before I started at Niagara College, I had already paid a deposit to a different college, and I'm not gonna, slander anyone, but I did choose to make that switch because not every college offers the kind of versatility that we have within our first year and being able to switch into the different streams. Like I thought that was something that all colleges offer, but it's really not. And so that was kind of what made me switch over from a different path that I was intending.
That's actually some of the transfer requests I would get from other schools were students who did 1 year at a previous school and then wanted to do a technology diploma. And so their school wouldn't allow them to do it. And that's why they were looking at coming to Niagara, because they thought they wanted a 2-year and decided they wanted a 3-year. And so they came to us, and it's not always an easy 1-to-1 ratio, because at the other school, they might have done things in year 1 that maybe we didn't touch until the beginning of term 3, just the way they've structured their program. So yeah, that's an important point to make, is that having that flexibility between electrical and electronics and computer now as well is a huge benefit. I started in computers, I graduated in electronics. Kelty started in electrical, she's gonna finish in electronics, and now I teach in electrical. So you don't realize the flexibility you want until you're in that position.
Yeah, I agree.
I took computer electronics engineering technology at Mohawk, and my first job was programming robots and PLCs and dealing with hydraulic pistons. And it was like the world's biggest toy room, but it had nothing to do with what I took in school other than me being able to understand what I was doing. And next thing I know, I'm on a Zoom doing open house.
Yeah, I used to walk
I'm not sure what
in
happened between then and now.
when I was a student. I would walk into a computer lab, and the teacher was convinced that it was just me walking in that shut down half of the computers. They would, yeah, and that's no lie. And now now I love programming, so who knows?
And Janet had a lot of experience in project management coming from industry. So
Yeah,
the question came up about other certifications. You don't know that until you end up in the field. And then your boss is kind of like, well, this is what you're going to do. So there are a lot of those 1-year certificates that add on to any technician or technology diploma. It's getting your foot in the door and showing that you're capable of completing something. And that definitely helps out. So Janet is our new project manager.
yeah. The computer technician course actually has a brand new project management course that has been added to it. So there is a new project management course where you actually learn, even the differences between the type of project management you would use on maybe a standard business project versus the type of project management that's used for software development or for hardware projects, which there are, because of the speed of some of those projects, the project management, it's a different style of project management. So you learn a bit about that as well in the computer technician course. I know that because I teach it, so I know you learn that.
Okay, thank you everyone. So we're actually came to the end of our session. So our hour session is done, but right before I log off, I just wanted to point out there is one question in the chat. Does Niagara College host FIRST robotics comps?
I can actually speak about this because I was part of a high school FIRST robotics program. Unfortunately, Niagara College does not host any FIRST robotics programs. It's something that requires a much bigger facility than we have. But there are many clubs and stuff that we can start. So I've debated with some people about starting a VEX club at Niagara College, but it does require you to have enough people to get that started. So we don't really currently have any association with FIRST robotics at the moment, but there's always room to change and add that.
Perfect. Thanks, Kelty. And thank you, Jan. Thank you, Sarah, Frank, Anna. Thanks everyone for being involved. And thank you all for joining us today. And we hope you enjoy the rest of our open house today.
Bye, everyone.
Everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Sarah. Bye, Janet. Bye, Kelty.
Bye.
Bye, Ann.